How's it going, ladies and Bruce's up? I'll be Sixkilla. Welcome back to the letter. We are still Hannah. We're still experiencing life as a fancy socialite with a twat of a husband. But Zach is currently taking a photo of our house for a magazine or whatever. Our new haunted house. He gave me this strange look until I back off, and he'll go back to asking questions after I agree to do his little interview. And it's just odd. Well, no. Me being friendly isn't that odd. That's how I am. Oh, for sure. Zachary's the one that's being odd. Why, anyone else would absolutely welcome the extra attention I give them. He, on the other hand, looks almost flustered about it. He should be used to different personalities by now, having to deal with various people when he works. And if not, he needs to start. Perhaps nobody's shown him attention of this kind, but he's a big boy. He should be able to handle me. All it is a friendly touch here, a pretty smile there, and a gentle swaying of the hips as I move around. See, flirting with him. Zachary grew and grew more red every time he noticed. You're flirting with him? What the fuck did you expect? Am I being mean as I find enjoyment in seeing him unravel? Yes. Perhaps. This went on during the interview and beyond that. There's nothing wrong with what we're doing, right? Zachary and I are just having a playful, friendly chat while we enjoy the outside view. At least that's how I see it.
I'm sorry, but I'm really getting distracted. Could you maybe stop doing that?
Stop? I'm not sure if I want to, though. I think we should stop.
I'll stop if it makes you uncomfortable, sweetie.
Sorry.
No, I should be the one apologizing. Why, you're a shy one, aren't you, big guy?
It's not that, but...
It's unprofessional? He gestures the ring on my finger and lets the fact of the matter hang heavily between us. Well, duh. Being told implicitly that I'm too forward is not a common occurrence. I think I'm more stunned at the fact that he pointed it out, rather than, well, being rejected. Not that anything is going to happen between us in the first place. It was just going to be some harmless flirting, right?
So, you've never had a girlfriend?
No. No boyfriend either. You know, just in case you were gonna ask for that one next.
And you haven't even had your first kiss?
Not a one, ma'am.
Do you want to have your first kiss today?
I can't help it. I really, really can't, and I'm going to apologize lots later. Surely by the catty smile on my face, it's obvious I'm just pulling his leg. The laugh I fail to contain certainly gives it away if it isn't still obvious. But still, he lights up in embarrassment, stammering and sputtering objections.
You're married, and this will be extremely unprofessional.
You're a good man, Zach.
I never said I would kiss you, silly. Oh, Johans!
No, what? No! Don't call your butler. She's Hannah.
That would be for the better. I don't think his husband would appreciate it if I made him kiss another man. I do not think he can hear us from here either. But it is hard to think you're not taken, Zachary. Why, whoever becomes your girlfriend will be so lucky to have you. You can cook and take wonderful photographs, wonderful meals and wonderful memories.
I can play guitar too.
You can? Oh my, wonderful serenades as well then. Perhaps I can find a young lady who deserves a fine, strapping young gentleman like yourself.
Let's not get carried away. Besides, I gotta be going. It's getting late and I got someplace else to be.
A shame. I will be expecting you again soon, I hope. For a copy of my photographs, yes?
Of course. I'll even deliver them personally. Just, you know, don't try to make me kiss your butler when I drop by.
No, you have to kiss the butler. As fate would have it, the very moment the words leave his mouth, Johannes comes out of the house. Judging by the slight raise of his brows, he had only heard the tail end of the sentence.
There shall be no kissing of any butlers under this roof. Danke.
But you are not under a roof, are you, Hansi?
You're outside. To my amusement, he takes a step back, safely placing himself within the threshold of the foyer and under the roof of the house. I like this butler. He's a fun butler. And just as ever, he is quick to return with a sardonic reply.
I am now. As I was saying, madam, it's about time for supper.
Like Jeffrey from fucking Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He was a fun butler.
Will I be needing to set an extra place at the table?
Oh, what? No, I was just leaving, actually. So, you have a good night, Hannah. And you too,
Hansi. It's getting handsy.
It was nice to meet you, Zach, honey. You have a safe trip.
He nods, and the grin on his face, with the grin on his face as we say our goodbyes, is the sweetest I've ever seen. I linger, looking out for him with his relatively tiny bicycle, backpack safely secured in the basket by the front and a suitcase hooked to the back. I watch as he went down the path back to Anslem village, until he's nothing more than a blip on the horizon. How old is Zach? How can I help the small smile on my face as I go inside for supper? I suppose I could look at that, couldn't I? Journal. Profiles. Zach. Oh. Okay, never mind. Perhaps later. Entering the dining hall causes me so much confusion. It's dark. For a moment I thought the electric work is not up to par. Well, that clearly is not the case, as every other room is bright with artificial light. Finding the light switch is a monumental task, considering the size and my unfamiliarity with the room. To make matters worse, the darkness grants the room a different atmosphere, eerie and frightening. It takes longer than I thought to find the switch, something that will have to be rectified later on. My skin starts to prickle, and there's a distinct feeling of being watched. It unsettles me and only spurs me on in my search. And when I do open the lights, there is a hiss.
I'll turn the lights down, woman!
He's drunk again, is he? There at the end of the hall is my beloved husband, with his face in one hand and a glass in the other. Perhaps I can let it go if it's only one glass of wine. He needs the lights turned down, it's more than one glass of wine. Or he's on something much harder. However, I can feel myself go livid after seeing the toxic green liquid gleam mockingly at me.
Luke, what? Are you drinking absinthe? You know what the doctor said. Absinthe, Luke.
What's wrong with absinthe?
Are you actively trying to kill yourself?
Absinthe tastes pretty good, not gonna lie.
Because if you are, we can just hit you with a bloody car.
Honeybee, Buttercup, not too loud, please. Besides, it's Lelouch, not too strong. Just hair of the dog that bit me. Helps with the hangover, dearest.
You drank? When?
This morning, love. Don't be mad. I just needed a few drinks, having to deal with those simpletons. And maybe I had one too much. You don't see me whinging about you leaving me to handle them on my own.
I had to attend the photo shoot and interview with Luxury Living. You know that. Let's not make this about me, Luke. This is about you and your drinking problem and...
Oh, I don't know, Hannah, darling. What if my drinking problem, as you like to call it, is linked to you?
Ooh.
If we think about it that way, this discussion is about you. That was pretty mean of you, leaving me alone to do all the work like that. You can't use the interview as an excuse either, honey. I was informed the moment your little interview was done. So, what was it then, What were you doing?
Just flirting with the interview guy. What's it gonna be? Should I tell the truth or tell a little lie? Tell the truth?
I was talking with Zachary, the photographer for Luxury Living.
I have no reason to tell lies. It's not like I'm guilty of anything. But as Luke's expression turns, he makes me feel like I'm actually to blame for something. He has a way of making me lay bare with just a look. That had really struck me when we first met years ago.
That giant Negro? You were having a secret meeting behind my back and it was with him?
What are you implying?
I'm implying nothing. I'm just worried. You know better than to trust those media types, Buttercup. He must have been really friendly to occupy your time like that.
Actually, she was the really friendly one.
But all he's looking for is his next big headline.
He's a photographer for an interior design magazine.
Doesn't matter. You let one little thing slip, one wrong move, and it'll blow up in the telly in the morning. He'll go to his journalist friends to gossip and make a quick quid.
His eyes were the first thing I noticed about him. They were like nature. The grass and the trees, wonderful and breathtaking. Now as I look at them, they're nothing but the same shade of green as the bloody damn drink in his hand.
He was a perfect gentleman, Luke. I can't say the same for you as of recent.
Excuse me again? We're talking about you, Hannah.
You keep trying to talk about her. She keeps trying to talk about you. None of us are on the same page here.
No. I am pretty sure we were talking about you and your drinking problem, Luke, right?
Having forgotten during the course of his little spat, the man jumps to his feet and seethes. It looks like he's barely stopping himself from throwing the nearest thing he can find.
Oh, it is not a problem. I can stop whenever I want.
That's what they all say. I can stop whenever I want. I just don't want to.
And even if it was, I think you can very well stay out of it, as it only affects my own kidneys or liver or whatever the bloody hell that shite pollutes.
Both, I think.
Whatever aftermath that occurs because of your little chit-chat with the Negro affects the both of us, however.
Oh, I don't like when he says that. That's very offensive. The way he says it is horrific.
Look, Luke, nothing will happen. You have to relax. It was just a friendly chat.
Well, now I think I'm getting jealous. Or I would be if it weren't for this damn headache.
Maybe you should drink more.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe you should drink yourself to death, you piece of shit. Supper is spent in silence with nothing but the occasional sound of silverware. A grand feast has been served, well, grander than usual anyway, most likely due to Luke's complaints of stress. A platter of native oysters for starters, a tranche of turbot with purple sprouting broccoli, lemon capers, and anchovy sauce for mains. It sounds fucking horrible. To finish it off, black tea and golden syrup sponge pudding with custard. I like custard. But when our appetites are appeased, you get them in the... You know what's good about custard? You get them in those square cardboard containers like you get milk in, and then you can just drink it out of the container. That's how you custard. But when our appetites are appeased and the plates are cleared away, Luke stands, kisses me goodnight, and leaves me to stare at my half-empty cup. Lonely in the lull of the night, I sit in a house too big and too empty, foreign and unwelcoming. Even with its warm tone and homely decor, it feels cold. There's no need for tears, however. I know I can get through this like every other obstacle I've faced before. There's a minor setback in what I hope will be a long and happy life. If he drops dead, it might be. To remind myself that this place is for Luke, and for our future children, fills me with a renewed vigor. Besides, it looks like somebody is having a cry already. The wailing is far away and muffled, uh-oh. Yet at the same time, it shakes me to my very core as I hear it. As if the suffering is just standing right beside me. Ah, comforting suffering. Hearing it sends a chill down my spine and makes my skin prickle with goosebumps. Who is that? I don't like this. Curiosity sinks in as I follow the sorrowful sound to the kitchen. And into the wine cellar hatch.
Hello? Is anybody down there?
I'm curious and concerned, but there's no way I'm going down into that dark and humid underground. I'm not as enthusiastic as Luke, who considers himself quite the connoisseur. That's a good excuse to be a drunk ass. However, I also cannot bring myself to go to bed with this racket going on. If it's one of the household help, they'll surely need some talking. After all, this wouldn't be the first time I've gone and found one of the maids sobbing their eyes out over one thing or another. After being defiled by Luke or something. As professional as our staff are, they're still human. More often than not, it was either Johannes... Oh, not Johannes. Or who'd come... Oh, who'd calm them down. Oh, I thought Johannes would be crying. Who'd help them figure out how to go on about things. Unfortunately, I'm not in high spirits right now. So I'm not as wholly benevolent. So I will... I feel like opening the hatch is the really dumb thing to do. Which means I'm really inclined to do it. Alright, call them out. I knock 3 times. Waiting for any sort of reply yields me no result. And I've already touched the floor hatch far too many times than I'd like. I take a deep breath before reaching out again to whoever's inside. I've learned from experience that people respond better to kindness than threats. Shouting angrily would not help in coaxing them out. No shit.
You, in the cellar, do come out. We don't want Luke waking up and finding you in there, do we? That man would go ballistic thinking someone was trying to steal his precious wine.
Still nothing.
You can have a good cry. Just not in there, yes? Why don't you come out here and we can have a cuppa and you can tell me all about whatever it is you're bawling about?
I'm not sure if I like Hannah or not. You know? I'm not sure if I like her or not. With how long I'm standing here, however, I'm starting to think myself as a fool. I did not want to acknowledge that the other feeling I have, especially as the wailing took an eerie turn. The thought of being played with didn't sit too well with me, and I had to stop myself from getting too hot-headed as I try one more time.
Now you come out of there! That is an order from the lady of the house, do you hear me?
The lady of the house?
Why, I ought to...
This is the bouquet residence, the lady of the house speaking. I freeze as my hand clamps down on my shoulder. As a hand clamps down on my shoulder, the dread I've been feeling all this time makes itself known as I kneel. Unmoving, not even daring to breathe. I can feel my heart pounding against my chest. but the touch is gone as quickly as it seized me. It is only Johannes I see when I look back.
Apologies, madam, for touching you like that. You were not responding to my voice, and you looked about ready to wake the whole mansion up.
I'm sorry. I was getting rather loud, wasn't I? But that crying woman in there, we must do something about her.
He grows silent for a moment and just looks concerned. At least, I like to interpret it as concern, given how stoic our head butler usually is. Or rather, it must have been concern, as he takes off a glove and presses the back of his hand at my forehead before his worrisome inquiry.
I beg your pardon. What crying woman? Are you feeling well, madam?
In the cellar. Can't you hear her?
Madam Hannah, no one is down there.
What?
The cellar is locked. Only Luke and I have duplicates of the keys. Nobody is down there.
I stare at him in disbelief. But when I listen once more, I hear no crying. Tugging at the hatch for good measure prove his words to be true too. The thing won't budge unless I had a key, short of using power tools on it.
Perhaps it is time for you to go to bed, madam. You are simply tired and hearing things, a perfectly normal human experience. But if you are still experiencing auditory hallucinations in the morning, you are free to consult with me.
There is a cold feeling in the pit of my stomach as he helps me up to my feet. What he says makes sense. And who am I to question someone who used to be a doctor? How do you go from being a doctor to a head butler? How does that pay more? That's sad, man. I'm just tired, that's it. Long day of moving, the interview, dealing with Luke. That's all drained me of any proper sense.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I just need some sleep, that's all.
Of course I'm right.
Of course you are.
Go
You're
on
head butler.
then. Gute Nacht.
Good night, Johannes. Good night, house.
Good night, scary crying woman in the cellar. It's just fatigue. That's what I keep telling myself, although I can't ignore the strange feeling in my gut. Either there is something wrong with this house, or there is something wrong with my head. Sleep will be elusive tonight. Oh yeah. Luke is already gone by the time I rise. There isn't a single hide nor hair of him to be found, and trying to call him on his mobile is a bust, as it only goes straight to his voicemail. It's twice in a row he's gone on me. And for him to disappear today of all days, it's every bit upsetting because of what's to come. The morning is once again filled with a whirlwind of activity. Fortunately, I'm much more refreshed as I took a break from my responsibilities. I haven't the faintest clue where Luke was yesterday. Today's going to be a busy day, although unlike Wednesday, the master of the house isn't here right now, absent once again from his duties. Hopefully he'll be back in time for the party. This is our house after all. A grand housewarming party for the wonderful Wright mansion. Every person of importance in Luxbourne is invited, and there'll be a few guests flying in as well. Of course, there'll be some people from the media, along with friends and acquaintances who are made no less important, regardless of their status in society. Marianne and I discuss business and last-minute touches to the house before finalising everything. Not that there's much change from our original plans. Bar any huge additions to the property itself, the mansion is nearly 100% complete.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Well, I can't take all of the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the Wright mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Luke and I had a small tiff about making the second bedroom into a child's playroom, which I insisted is completely practical. In the end, he had acquiesced. I didn't give him any choice in the matter. How many bedrooms does this place have? And would it matter? I even bought this wonderful wooden crib from the antique store yesterday, including some toys. Just in case anyone brings their baby, of course. Besides, we have little need for actual guest rooms. We hardly have guests who spend the night. If we absolutely have to, we often choose to foot the bill for their visit on one of the hotels instead, always at Luke's own insistence. And on the off chance that we actually let someone stay, the bedroom in the opposite wing is still up to the task.
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned. I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
No, I did not agree with him having a helipad.
All right then. Well, do we have any other concerns? Anything we need to put on our agenda before the party commences?
No, I don't think so. Not unless... Luke has anything else to say.
Well, he ain't here, so it's all good.
Is he around then? It'd be best if we can note down his request right away, considering the scope of his usual ones.
Around? No. Where is he? Who knows where? I don't.
No, he's not around.
She didn't have to point out the obvious now, did she? After 7 long years, I'd already gotten used to him. I should be by now. Still not, apparently.
But don't you have a party?
I want nothing more than to complain, to whinge about how unfair this is. However, airing out one's dirty laundry is simply taboo among high society. To do so would make you a ripe target at the next dinner party chit-chat. Oh no, we couldn't have that. Vultures, the lot of them, really. Or most of them, at least. There are always good ones, like Rochelle Lee. But put your trust in the wrong person and you'll find yourself eagerly picked apart.
Yes. But Luke's just being a sweetie, you see. That friend he's visiting. He's having marital problems and he's just trying to cheer him up.
Perhaps I'm being a bit too rash, a bit too hot-headed and divulging details. Perhaps I'm being a bit too rash, a bit too hot-headed and divulging details. But I thought myself clever, with the plan to dress it up as gossip. Marianne's raised brow makes me unsure whether she is interested or not. Although that does make things better if she has no interest and therefore has no hidden intent to utilize whatever I might say to her.
They've been married for a long time and they've hit a... how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband. But it's never enough for her. Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark. What do you think?
You were asking for my personal opinion on the matter, ma'am? Do you want me to be honest, or...
Yes, be honest.
Be honest with me, Marianne. I don't need someone to sugarcoat it. I'm not some fragile thing that I'm just going to break down at the slightest thing.
She hesitates, taking a sip of her coffee while I stare into my own cup of tea. The silence stretches on. I almost believe that she'll never answer my question. I suppose that I shouldn't blame her, putting her in a tight spot like this. Her hesitation is understandable, though I loathe to admit it. She simply wants this whole thing to stay professional. But then she speaks.
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
It's my turn to hesitate now. I really didn't expect such a straightforward question. Kind of obvious though, isn't it? And to get to the heart of the matter, I suppose I'm not as clever as I like to think. Clearly not. Or is it really that bad that an outsider can see our little marital troubles? Surely we aren't that obvious, are we? We've put up the act of a perfect couple for years, although it hadn't always been an act. When we had the breakfast with her, you tried to talk about how much of a shitty deadbeat husband he was. So it's not surprising that she knows now, right? Marianne is just more keen than the average person, of course. It is a necessity to her career, and she's been working so closely with us. Yes, that's it.
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
Then, I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle. But if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else.
Good advice. Wow.
Someone who won't even give him the time of the day. Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself. Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone. That's just my 2 pence worth, of course.
So you're saying they should divorce?
Nothing as drastic as that. If they're afraid that it might lead to just that, then maybe that is what's meant to happen in the first place. We shouldn't let our fear control our lives. But it's just a short hiatus is all. Or, couples therapy? Look, I'm really not the best person to ask about relationships. So grain of salt and all that.
She trails off, having said her piece, and leaves nothing but the smell of coffee and Earl Grey between us. There is a calm despite the nature of what has just been discussed. To say that her words make me start to think is an understatement. To say that I'm not considering her advice is a lie. And to say that this might just be the calm before the storm is a possibility. Others have had shorter marriages, yes, but plenty have celebrated long and happy ones as well. Some work, some don't work. My own parents celebrated their choral anniversary before they passed away. but 7 years. 7 years isn't a whole lot of time in the grand scheme of things. It isn't a whole lot of time to see what and where our relationship can bring us. And at the same time, 7 years, well, it hasn't been entirely made up of unhappy years, has it? It won't last forever, it's not supposed to anyway. I just dread the thought that it might last for a very long time. I dread the thought that these small spats, these little disagreements will turn into an all-out resentment. The idea that we'll grow to hate each other with every fibre of our being scares me. I can't even pinpoint the exact moment when our blissful union turned sour. When did he start to seek other women, lacking any ulterior motives? When did we start to cooperate only to suit our materialistic greed and attention-seeking ways? Money and success, fame and glamour, are these the only reasons we stay together? There is a cough before Marianne clears her throat. I must have been quiet for so long. I move to apologise when she stands up. We both end up on our feet, unsure on how to proceed. Some sort of odd, awkward shuffle occurs as we decide whether to sit back down or not.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
You won't be attending the party. Oh, you really must, Marianne.
I'll try to stay and chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies. Busy, busy, busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you. You need to say hello to the Lees, at least.
Be good marketing, although it doesn't sound like you need it. People are saying you're the best, so... But you know, these people pay out the ass, right?
If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive. Because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
Fun. The scene outside the parlour is a great organised mess. Aside from our own household help, we've hired the service of a temp agency which provides staff for Right Enterprise in the hospitality sector. Even our very skilled staff cannot undertake a party of this size on their own. Waiters, busboys, hostesses, and their staff captains move about in droves carrying crockery and serveware good for several dozen people, and then some. Chefs and bartenders tail after Johannes, looking like scared little children as he escorts them through the kitchen and into the wine cellar. You know, this place is pretty intimidating. To peruse the stocks, to select what can be served at the party and what can be used for cooking.
No, we have a lot to do, and I believe we did not hire snails. Snails are for the dishes.
A string quartet readies up to play for the evening, tuning their instruments as they fill the air with idle chatter. Floral decor where thousands fill vases, wreaths and baskets, while petals are scattered along the driveway up front. An ice sculpture of a reindeer is brought in carefully by a pair. It is followed by a simple cake. Just a 5-tier white chiffon one with white chocolate mousse, fresh berries and a light dusting of edible gold leaf. But despite the fact that I told Marianne how I will attend to all of this, I find myself unable to focus or care for any of it. I still have our discussion running in my mind, and looking at all of this, I only see Luke everywhere. These are all the grand things that Luke wanted to have for the party. I wanted a small, elegant and simple gathering, with only a select few invited, namely the people who I'd actually trust to enter my home. I did not want any bloody politicians or paparazzi in here, no matter how much I'm used to catering them.
At least be here for your party. Damn it, Luke.
The entire thing screamed Luke Wright. And I can't help but add another question to my growing list of queries. When did I lose myself? It's always about him nowadays, isn't it? What about Hannah Wright? What about Hannah Evans? I used to be my own woman, who made her own name, her own career, and her own decisions. Sure, I was already the social butterfly that I still am today, but it wasn't all empty, shallow gossip and sitting pretty. I was also lauded for my knowledge and talent. Finance manager wasn't just handed to me, just because my father owned the company. I had insisted that I start at the bottom so I could work my way to the top and prove myself. And I did. I worked numbers, managed budgets, money and accounts, analysing the competition and market trends. There was the calculation of financial risk, cost reduction opportunities, auditor liaison and public relations, supervision of staff, and, well, I generally had a huge slew of responsibilities. Admittedly, I was already quite the attention seeker even back then, having dedicated most of my youth craving for my parents' approval. Failing that, I turned to others, looking for praise from anyone who would give it, however fleeting it all was. And Luke, oh Luke, the way he looked at me, the way he watched me and took a genuine interest. He had me disgustingly obsessed since day one, hasn't he? He saw me for me, Hannah Evans, both my faults and achievements. The man didn't treat me so like some damsel in distress or some prize to be won. I remember the nights before we were married, where we'd talk about everything and anything. From big things like business, society and philosophy to little things such as what we had for breakfast or whether we like cats or dogs more. We both prefer dogs. Nowadays I'm just Luke Wright's wife. It's mostly my fault, isn't it? They tell me that husbands prefer wives who are docile and subordinate. A woman who will always be there for them, yet would never outshine him in all aspects except beauty. A woman needs to be at home and attend to his needs, to have children, and to take care of them in his absence. They said I have no business working anymore after I was married. I can blame society, but I listened. Before I can fall further into this introspective pit of self-loathing, someone calls for my attention.
The guests have arrived, madam.
And Luke?
Running a bit late, I'm afraid.
Where is he?
Late for his own party. That man, I swear. He's probably looking to make a dramatic entrance, knowing him. Open the doors, then. We mustn't tarry.
Cars line up the driveway, peppering the front of the mansion with vehicles of every kind. Grand Tourers, supercars, even the odd high-end muscle car or two, convertibles, grand saloons, and other luxury cars could be seen, being parked by valets. A handful of cabs drive off, possibly for those who thought it's too troublesome to bring their own cars. There are at least 2 different media vans as well. They're all here for what might be considered the biggest event of the year for Luxborn. So far. Who knows what we'll plan for the winter holidays.
Welcome everyone. Please, make yourselves at home.
Some of the guests idle, enjoying the warm if not strange sunshine that we're experiencing, before gloomy skies inevitably return. They greet acquaintances and friends with warm smiles, others less so. From where I stand, I can see the hierarchy of power, the ties that bind these individuals here, whether through convenience or necessity. However, there are also a few not here to further cement their current place in high society. Such as that young man with his oriental air, ignorant of the looks he receives from women and men alike. Isn't saying oriental racist as well? What is with these high society people? The way they're just identifying people by race. It's fucking strange.
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
Well, that rose-haired woman talking on her phone while she looks unsure of why she's here exactly. That's funny.
Yes, I'm at the party already, Mom. Yes, I'll say hi to her if I can.
I see Zachary, the photographer, as well. He talks to a few of the other media crew with an air of familiarity.
I was just here a few days ago, yeah. And the inside is huge, but the staff are pretty helpful if you get lost.
I had invited Father Norman, too. It's the least I can do after he blessed the mansion on my request, aside from my small donation to the church, of course. But the poor man had taken ill and went through a nervous breakdown of some sort the other day. And then there are people like the Chief Inspector, people who I can never be too sure about. People who stand on the border between being suspicious and being trustworthy. Do not trust this man. No. You can't automatically say, he's a cop, I can trust him. That makes it even more dubious in my book.
Thank you for the invite, Anna.
Oh my god, and when he talks like that...
Husband still missing, I see.
He talks like a stalker on the other end of a fucking spotty phone reception.
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee. The doctors again?
She told me she'll just be in the gardens. Bet she's lying and that she's somewhere around mingling, gossiping with the other ladies. It's no offense, but that seems to be all you ladies do at these parties.
And aren't you gossiping right now?
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
I'd rather wait until we can confirm he's dead, and then we'll do it.
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing. Don't tell me, let me guess. He's finally drunken himself to death and not wanting a scandal. You've hidden his body.
It's a big house, man.
I was wanting to give this housewarming gift to him personally, too. It's a plate that holds a wine glass so he can stop killing himself with liquid lunches. Looks like it's too late for that.
Nothing like that. Besides, this is a hardly polite conversation.
Oh, relax. I'm just trying to be cheeky to lighten the mood. It's not like I want Luke dead.
Much.
The man doesn't serve dodgy plonk like the others when I visit, and he pays his respects well enough. I could use a glass of wine or 3, actually. Michelle's been in a horrid mood. Threw her stilettos at me the other day and almost took an eye out. Not sure if this is how it usually goes, but I blame the pregnancy.
I wouldn't know, would I?
Still no plans for a baby? I guess that's for the best. If it's this bad now, I can't even imagine how bad it'll be when that little baby bump becomes huge.
Have I mentioned how I don't trust him, no matter how hard I try to do so? At least he brought a gift, I suppose.
Why don't you just go inside and have some wine, Lee?
Think I will, thanks.
Greetings such as these carry on as the guests continue to trickle in. Whether we have short conversations or merely shake hands and nod heads, I make sure to attend and welcome each of them. As the first hour passes us by, the rest of the stragglers and I adjourn to the ballroom. Any latecomers will have the attention of the porter instead. I have other duties to attend to now. Alright, we need to wrap it up because we're out of time. We're out of time. That Lee guy is so creepy. And I know I said I didn't like Hannah before, and now that we're playing as her, I kind of like her. I kind of don't like her. I kind of like her. Maybe Luke will be different when we're playing as Luke, when we see his side of the story, but from this perspective, he looks like a total fuckwit. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.